Alright, hey, it's Gamer here. Just putting out another video. I've been sitting on this one for a while. Um, Basically just playing Terraria on the worst possible difficulty. In case you don't know, with Terraria there is a few different ways to play it. You have obviously expert mode, which makes it a lot more difficult, and then you have master mode. I'm playing on the one above that, which is technically an Easter egg, but generally is referred to as legendary mode. Basically, you put in as a very specific seed when making the map, and it spawns with all the other Easter eggs combined. So, in case you don't know, there's quite a few Easter egg maps. There's one where there's both corruption and crimson. There's one where it's just filled with jungle and bees. Um, there's also another one that they added during the crossover event with Don't Starve. So I also die in the dark, which is fun. A lot of good mix. It's pretty ridiculous to deal with. Live bombs drop from vases all the time. It's a complete mess. But I have played it beforehand. You might see on the channel I've attempted it beforehand, but ended up getting like pretty stonewalled on what to do. Honestly, it might happen again. I could really use some tips on how to progress sometimes. At the current, I've made it pretty far, but I don't want to give too many spoilers just yet. Um, But anyway, yeah, so I've been recording quite a big chunk, so I'll breeze through a good couple hours just on brief explanations, but uh, basically, you start off the game and you just want to get trees. Just hit up the trees and also break as many vases. Since you start in hell, in case that wasn't obvious, a few big differences. There are trees down here, which are pretty cool actually. Kind of wish they were in the like regular maps too. Um, but also these vases here can drop not only light bombs, but also stars, which to be used to make mana stars. So only way to max out mana is to be doing that. It's a little crazy. So yeah, I go around and hit that as much as I can. I also try my best to lure a couple lava slimes back to the base. Another difference on this map is that normally lava slimes, when you kill them, there's a chance they drop, lava, because they're basically a ball of lava jumping around. Because they are the only thing spawning on this big ash pile that you start on. They removed that feature because otherwise there'd just be lava everywhere. There's a difference between hard and literally just annoying. Instead, that feature got moved over to lava bats, which won't spawn into, and same thing with imps, won't spawn until you go off the ash pile. So, thankfully that's a little nice. They do drop gel, and as I mentioned earlier, darkness literally kills you. So, and you pretty much need to light up the whole area. So I try to my best to lure a couple slimes back to the NPCs to get them killed. And also, I know the NPCs here, the way that it works is that it starts off with a party. Once that party's over, all the NPCs die. So I need to get housing down relatively quick. They'll still die even if I get housing, but at least so they can start moving back in. Alright, and once I get all the houses made over, at least a couple of them, obviously not what you can really do is start exploring. Um, it's a bit hard to actually explore since normally if you're exploring, just go straight down or go side to side. Side to side is literally death, as mentioned beforehand, and going up is a lot harder than going down. So first thing I do is just make my way up, do my best to go around the crispy honey. If you don't know how that works, by the way, crispy honey sucks. It's a block, one of those burning blocks. So when you touch it, you're lit on fire. But when you break it, there's also a pretty good chance it turns into lava, flat out. So you can't really mine it, not safely at least. So I kind of have to make my way around it. It's always a complete mess. And I don't really know why, but also this entire section is just mushrooms. So I have a ton of blue mushrooms, or glowing mushrooms, sorry. Which is cool, I guess. I don't really have much of a use for them, though. So yeah, once I get that down, I also finally get up to a layer where I can start getting stone. I get a ton of stone. You don't really mine as much stone as you would normally. As I mentioned, you don't really dig down straight away. It doesn't happen as often, so you don't run through and just mine a ton of stone. So you kind of got to go out of your way for it. And I need, a furnace and then also a ton of arrows down the line. So might as well get it out of the way first. I also get pretty lucky. I managed to find a golden chest with warding Hermes boots, which is probably the best thing I could find in there. since my current armor is literally 3 points, so the boots alone give me more defense. Um, yeah. Alright. I also managed to finally kill enough slimes to get the first lava slime banner. Very useful, because obviously banners make it so much easier to survive and kill things. So I set up all the graves that I've managed to collect so far just to actually get some gel, so I can again make sure I do not die. Right. And another thing to mention as well, I am currently playing during the Halloween, so because of that, my drops are a little different than normal, and thankfully that's paid off. I managed to get a bloody machete drop, which basically works the same way a boomerang does, but with gravity, which isn't great. But that damage and knockback is just makes it my best weapon by far. I don't replace this until, oh man, it takes a good while to replace it. I don't want to spoil what weapon I get next, but yeah. So that one does come up a fair bit later. I also do try to set down more gravestones where I did earlier for the lava slime farm. I am trying to get Abigail's flower. It ends up being pretty pointless though. It's such a pathetic summon. The damage of and health of all the enemies are turned up so much. Abigail doesn't even do that much knockback to hold them back, so it ends up being fairly redundant. Even though I do try my best to use it later. Alright, and also while mining, I managed to get quite lucky and a fairy shows up. They ended up leading me to my first heart crystal, and since it was my first, I forgot one other fun feature about this game mode. Not all heart crystals are safe. Yes, some of them are literally just boulders that are reskinned as heart crystals. They still drop the heart crystal, which is nice. I have to still make my way back and get it though, because it does ridiculous damage. But I guess that's pretty normal for boulders, so it gets a pass. Alright, now that I've finally actually got some mining under my belt as well now, I've managed to turn all that lead into a full set of armor, a pickaxe, and a bow. Also make a ton of arrows, you know, got a bow now, gotta make a ton of arrows. And then I find one of the greatest minecart tracks of all time. I'm not kidding. I'll even play my actual reaction for this one. Um, I, it's so ridiculous. It's probably playing in the background now, but I see five, yes, five heart crystals just on the one path, two chests, and it leads into a snow biome. Like practically into a little house thing. It's really cool. I don't really have much of a use for a snow biome at the moment. Not any particularly good drops, but I will need it later. When I want to try and make the Terra Spark boots. And the luck just keeps coming in. I am barely managed to get one more heart crystal, just right before dying, and then when I'm making my way back there, I also managed to spot two more. So at this point, I'm already getting quite close to the max HP, and I'm still getting two-shot by enemies, and it's yeah, it sucks. It makes it a little better. Some enemies went from one shots to two shots, or even three-shotting me, which might seem really pathetic. But that's the difference between being able to survive and heal up or literally just dying. So, I'll take what I can get. I also managed to find my first full mushroom biome. As I mentioned earlier, there is a bunch of mushrooms down there, so I could probably manufacture my own mushroom biome. But this one obviously comes with, you guessed it, another heart crystal, as well as, you know, a bunch of loot chests, which is also super nice. I also get a mushroom boomerang from here. I don't know if I was using it for quite a while, but it does end up replacing that bloody machete. It's just way more knockback. Damage was also an increase, but not as important. That knockback is truly what saves you. Right. I also managed to finally find some gemcorn trees. I've been finding quite a lot of them already, but I specifically find an amber one. Reason I went for amber, diamond also would have went fine, is because they're both tied with the highest tier. So by tier, I mean, you know, not only sell price, but also the grappling hook, which is what I mainly want it for. So, now that I have that, I do try and make a little plot for it. End up getting a little distracted, though, and end up making a boss arena, which, thankfully, ended up being a really good idea, since just as I'm finishing up the second layer, I have Cthulhu spawns, and My god, was this a mess. I'm gonna probably let most of that clip play out. The whole fight was painful, and it takes you do so little damage. I know I don't have the best gear, like, for my limit just yet. I haven't reached that limit yet. But man, is it bad. Oh, I didn't get potion. So much easier now that I have a real arena. Now it really starts getting hard. So you went to a phase really early. Shit. Oh my god, what was that bullshit? He's on phase 3? Is he going to do that after every spin now? I was not informed of this. As bad as it is for Fire Emblems. God damn it, god damn it, god damn it. God damn it. Alright, and after that whole catastrophe, I decided it's probably going to be a good idea to make that arena a lot better. You may have noticed in that clip, occasionally I just don't get to turn around at good times. So I just decided to make it a lot longer, and same things before, I'm going to just let the clip play. Definite improvement. are you having so far? Look, Abigail, just take care of the fucking small guys. All you're good at. God damn it. Oh, it's getting ahead of me now. Oh, oh. Alright. And after that successful bout, I decided we're gonna go for round 3, technically. Since all my buffs are still active, and also having Shield of Cthulhu will make the whole fight much easier. This one I'll skim through, it's basically the same as the first. It is still pretty tense, but, you know, nowhere near as bad as that second or first one was. Alright, now that I'm finally done with those boss fights, I also defined to actually find some time to actually complete this gemcorn farm, since, you know, I say complete, but it's honestly, you keep expanding on it later when you get more seeds for it, but I really need to get a grappling hook just for general traversing around it. I got lucky with those boots, but I think I also have a cloud in a bottle, and that's it. That's all I got for movement, and maybe some climbing gear, but that's about it. Alright, and also while making that gemcorn farm, I finally started to actually make the elevator part of it onto the side. And as doing so, I do manage to get lucky and a fairy points me into one more heart crystal. But then when I'm actually making this elevator, because I spend quite a bit of time on it, I do manage to find also the last 4 remaining life crystals. So now my HP is full until Plant Terror, and I'm still getting wrecked. It is actually abysmal. It's so I feel like I'm not describing how bad it is because so much of this is going to be cut out, but oh, it's so bad. Alright, and on that topic of the elevator, I do finally manage to get pretty high up and get on my way to the surface. Surface is also pretty messed up. I believe it's only Crimson and Corruption up here. I don't know if the beaches are untouched. I've never honestly made it that far out. We're at kind of the limit of how far I progressed last time. Um, that being said, though, because the surface is Crimson and Corruption, quite a few good drops I can get from these guys. A couple minor things like burgers, which will be great. Uh, large food, I don't know what the technical name is for it. But more food is always great, especially when you're literally starving to death multiple times. What else do they have? Oh yeah, money. You never go wrong with money. Money's always good. I do end up setting up a bit of a farm, a little easy because there's literally already lava here, even though it does 1 damage. And most importantly, finally some half decent armor. Lead armor has served me well, but I need actual armor, and the best one I can get basically up until hard mode, or just before it, will be Shadow Armor, Ancient Shadow Armor specifically, since it drops from the corruption enemies, and it's one of the best armors that I can get. Molten might be slightly better, but I can't get that until after beating one of the Corruption or Crimson bosses, which is basically where I got stumped last time, so for now, that's what I'll be preparing for. Just farming for that. Alright, and a little couple tangents as well. During that farming process, I also do manage to buy a ton of pad thai from the traveling merchant. It's only medium food, a little worse than burgers, but I've only gotten like 20 to 50 burgers. I don't remember the exact number. Not a lot of burgers after like a full night of AFK farming. So I bought like 250 pad thai just to keep me as like general food, but the burgers are for, you know, boss fights, so that's always useful. I'm also going to show a couple clips as well. I buy a couple things from the traveling merchant later. I do get the Grey Zappinator. I know it's a bit of a, you know, joke weapon because it's completely random effects. But it does like 46 magic damage, which is so ridiculously more than anything else I can do. I honestly use it, and like non-ironically. Um, what else did I get? Yeah, I also have a couple clips on how much money I made during that whole trip. I believe it's over 4 platinum, pretty close to 5. I know I'm going to be spending all of that cash onto a fish, like making up a dynamite for a fish farm, as well as probably a proper AFK farm for probably the surface and maybe also underground, just in general. There's quite a lot of drops I want from there. But that's basically it. I know it seems a little weird to cut the episode here. This is hours of footage. I really need to get this off my hard drive if I want to start recording more. So even though the episode might not be very long, I've put in some fucking time for this one, so I'll take it here. If you do have any suggestions, by the way, I'm not kidding when I say leave them in the comments. This isn't even like a pull, like I actually need help. The reason I'm mentioning this, if you did see some of the previous series, I don't even remember if it's uploaded or not. I've not looked at those very much. Um, Killing the actual Corruption and Crimson bosses are very hard. Thankfully, you kind of don't gotta kill them, because if you kill enough of their pieces or segments, they'll drop the ore, like the ore and scales or whatever the tissues, whatever it is, and then you can make the pickaxe and then get the molten stuff, so you can like skip that tier. But I still have to kill it, because there's no way I'm killing a wall of flesh without their drops. Like, I need the scarf, and I don't even remember what the brain drops. I'll be honest, I'm completely blanking. But it's probably important, and I'm probably gonna need it. Because I definitely know I want the. Oh god, I'm completely blanking. Look, I got a lot of shit. I really want to get the meteorite, which I believe can only happen after you start killing bosses. Look, you see what I mean? I'm completely stumped. If you guys have any suggestions on like builds I could use for literally the individual bosses, I know right now I'm pretty limited on options. I'm thinking my best option is going to be Terra Spark, Shield of Cthulhu. There's another item I didn't even realize existed. I don't remember. It's like a topaz something. It buffs the shit out of your movement, like acceleration, deceleration. I'm really surprised I didn't know it existed. It also makes you glow, so very useful when the darkness kills you, because it now can't. What else? Probably also just frog climbing gear. It's like the only thing that would cover that section. Um, Balloon bundle with a horseshoe. I don't remember its exact name. That's oh god, that's 5. Yeah, until I can actually get good gear, my options are super limited. Um, because melee's good, like as a class. The only issue is I get hit so hard until I can start making proper tank gear. I need to go at something with range, whether it's actually the archer class or whatever it's called, or the fucking wizard, anything. Honestly, any suggestions, just put them in the comments. I'll need them. Thank you for listening to my rant. Um, all right, thank you for watching.